this class certainly has done that and more. For some of them, as I said, we've been able to accomplish things on the field and off for multiple years together, and for some it's been for just this year. And for all of them, even if it's just in this year, it's been so fantastic just to see how this year's group has grown from where we were at the beginning of the season to where we are now. And that is a testament to the hard work and leadership that has been put on display by these 8 gentlemen here. Very, very thankful again. They all embody what it means to be a true Spartan footballer. So without further ado, I'm going to hand the microphone off to each and every single one of them. They'll introduce themselves and who is here in support for them. Then they're going to an awkward hug before I send them off to see those who are here, who are most special to them. So thank you very much to everybody who is here tonight.
My name is Ian Spihar, and my mom, dad, and sister are here from Virginia.
My name is Nathaniel, and my mom, dad, and sister are here for me.
My name is Edgar Monroy, and my parents are here, Anna and Pedro.
My name is John Foltz. My parents, Ann and Jason, are here, as well as my brother, Henry.
Okay, my name is Luke Rebar-Bowling, and my parents, Chris and Mary, are here, along with my aunt Michelle.
My name is Spencer Bigelow, and I'm here with my mom, Mika, and my 2 brothers, Aiden and Dylan.
My name is Jesus Rodriguez, and I'm here with my mom and my sister.
My name is Gerardo Gonzalez, and my 2 parents are here.
Again, thank you to everybody who's here. If we can give one more last round of applause to our senior class.
coaches, when we get down to about 4 minutes of the clock, we'll go ahead and start the introduction from the OSAA, and then we'll go from there. We'll do the introduction of both rosters, and then we'll finish with the national anthem. So at about 4 minutes of the clock, we will start that announcement. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to tonight's Mid-Willamette Conference boys soccer match between the visiting North Salem Vikings and the host Corvallis Spartans. The OSAA requests that you model good sportsmanship by refraining from derogatory cheers, chants, or behavior towards students, coaches, officials, or other spectators. Any verbal, written, or physical conduct relating to race, gender, age, color, national origin, ethnicity, disability, sexual orientation, or religion will not be tolerated. Such conduct may subject the violator to be removed from the event and result in penalties assessed against your school. Any spectator removed from this event may be banned from attending future interscholastic events. Speak out if you see inappropriate behavior by immediately notifying the event management staff. Be loud, be proud, be positive. This is a message from the athletic directors at Corvallis High School and North Salem High School. Now, at this time, we'd like to introduce the rosters for the two teams. First, the visitors from North Salem. Number 1, the sophomore, Jacob Jensen. Number 2, the senior, Pedro Lemus. Number 3, a freshman, Juan Carlos Rengel Salas. Number 4, the senior, Giovanni Ramos. Number 5, a freshman, Juan Bartolo Guzman. Number 6, the sophomore, Noah Jacobo. Number 7, the sophomore, Christian Romero. Number 8, the sophomore, Angel Lopez. Number 9, the sophomore, Nathan Martinez Sanchez. Number 10, the senior, Jesus Martinez Lara. Number 12, the sophomore, Manuel Barroquio Garcia. Number 13, the senior, Manny Ruiz. Number 15, the junior, Jose Cervantes. Number 17, the sophomore, Diodone Quilongo. Number 18, the junior, Edgar Ariola. Number 19, the sophomore, Edwin Paz. Number 20, the senior, Juan Garcia. Number 22, a sophomore, Jesse Garcia. Number 23, a senior, Emmanuel Aravallo. And number 24, a sophomore, Anthony Villa Cisneros. Head coach, Salvador Marcial. And now the roster for Corvallis. Yeah! Number 0, the junior, Carl Mellinger. Number 2, the junior, Eric Ponce. Number 3, a junior, Mauricio Neves Bernal. Number 4, a freshman, Kellen Filker. Number 6, a freshman, Gus Lurzak. Number 7, a junior, Joe Nunez. Number 8, a junior, Ian Hale. Number 9, a senior, Ben Bernowski. Number 10, a junior, Moises Quesada. Number 11, the sophomore, Jackson Myers. Number 12, the senior, Ian Sphere. Number 13, the junior, Jonah Craig. Number 14, a sophomore, Jesus Polito. Number 15, a senior, Nathaniel. Yeah! Number 16, a senior, Edgar Monroy. Number 17, a senior, John Foltz. Number 18, a senior, Luke Rebar Bowling. Number 19, a junior, Naif Al-Sharif. Number 20, a junior, Elias Gallardo Rosas. Number 21, a senior, Spencer Benjelin. Number 24, a senior, Gerardo Gonzalez. And number 25, a junior, Max Kelly. Head coach, Chad Fuller. Now, if you'll please stand, if you're wearing a cap, please remove your cap. For the national anthem, our singers tonight will be Kavila Hajusin Minsinski, Riley Minsinski, and Hannah DeMello. Thank you very much, ladies.
Good evening and welcome to Corvallis High School as we wind down the regular season of the 2019 high school soccer schedule. Only 2 games remain for each of these 2 teams tonight. Corvallis High, the defending state champions, trying to extend their 5-game winning streak and head into the postseason on a high note, taking on North Salem tonight, which has a shot at the playoffs, depending on how things shake out this final stretch of the season. I'm Josh Worden on Oregon Sports Beat with Tony Vandermeer. Tony, this Corvallis High team has taken shape the last couple of weeks as a team that deserves to be favorites for the state championship.
Yeah, Josh, it is pretty impressive how much development has occurred over the last month for the Spartan program and the Spartan team. And I think tonight's going to be an interesting, kind of intriguing watch of how Coach Foley handles this. It's senior night. It's a special night for it's a lot of kids that have been involved in the chance to be 3-time league champions. And so that's probably the secondary thing, to be honest, of winning this game and nailing down that 3rd title in a row. But I know Chad is really pretty devoted. He had a pretty special senior recognition time before the game. And so I'm trying to find out, see if he's starting all of his seniors, because quite often the high school coaches like to do that. So it'll be interesting, the approach that Corvallis takes tonight.
It is senior night for Corvallis here at Bob Holt Stadium, taking on the North Salem Vikings. This production of Mid-Willamette Conference Soccer brought to you by Even Flow Plumbing. Even Flow Plumbing specializes in complete plumbing and drain cleaning services, and their flat rates mean no surprises at the end of the job. When you need a pro, go with the flow. Even Flow Plumbing. You can call them at 541-738-8853. Also, Praise Jesus is a new food truck to the Corvallis, Albany area and a proud supporter of high school sports, offering gourmet grilled cheese sandwiches with soups and sides featuring fresh local produce. Praise Jesus is ready to come to your event or workplace. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. All right, we are set for the last game of the regular season here at Corvallis High School, and most likely not the final game of the entire year at CHS, although even that is not for certain. Corvallis will head to the postseason, being assured of that with their league record. The top 4 teams from the Mid-Willamette Conference do advance to the postseason, but the home field advantages are determined by OSAA rankings, something that Corvallis does not have as strong of a resume in due to their non-conference record. They're currently 9th in the OSAA rankings, so if the season ended today and go to the postseason, they'd be on the road. North Salem, meanwhile, trying to make it into the postseason, and a win tonight would help greatly in that effort.
Yeah, going into this portion of the season, teams or coaches are looking at a couple things, Josh. Where they're going to end up in the standings and having that opportunity to be league champions. And for all but two teams, everyone's looking at to see if Corvallis is going to be that three-time league champion. But Corvallis also does look quite often at the rankings and the ratings because it's a whole lot easier to win on your home turf, and so they're hoping that they're going to not only move up high enough to advance and host that first round game, they're hoping to maybe get into the quarterfinals to play here at Bob Holt Stadium as well.
For North Salem, down in the corner, Christian Romero leading the way for the Vikings. Passes off to teammate Manuel Barocio Garcia, who can't keep a hold of it. Some impact players to watch for tonight for the visiting team in white. That's the North Salem Vikings. Number 10, Jesus Martinez Lara, the second leading goal scorer, injured all of last year, but coming back and making a big impact this year. He wears jersey number 10 for North Salem, a senior forward for the Vikings. Also their leading scorer, number 17, Diodane Quilongo, is another one to watch for, and they've got a good goalkeeper in back as well as Max Kelly in goal for Corvallis, securing that one. But North Salem's keeper, Jacob Jensen, a guy with good hands, according to Salvador Maciel, head coach for North Salem.
So having Max start in goal answers one of the questions I had about all the seniors starting, having Carl Mellinger anticipate playing him in the second half. So Chad did not start all of his seniors, but he's got an organized approach. So even though I'm not sure entirely what his thinking is, one of the things I do know is he's intensely competitive. So he's playing to get another trophy and to increase, again, the ratings for Corvallis.
Max Kelly, who is the starting goalkeeper for the bulk of the beginning of this season, a senior for Corvallis, or junior, excuse me, gets the start. Carl Mellinger will be in goal perhaps in the second half, who's gotten a lot of playing time of late, returning and healthy now as Jonah Craig and Edgar Monroy, the two players up top in this free kick for Corvallis. It's to Jonah Craig, a header into the middle, and Quijada trying to bound that one to a teammate.
That was a pretty crafty set piece or restart that the Spartans put in there. Getting a very good cross in and had a free header. And he's hoping that that this footage is not played in training tomorrow, because that's something he probably should have finished.
For North Salem, head coach Salvador Maciel feels that the Vikings haven't gotten the results they've wanted this year. As a good ball in for the Vikings off the foot of Edgar Areola. North Salem right now with a 3-3 record on this season. They're 4-6-2 overall. Feel like they're a better team talent-wise than their record shows. And they could test Corvallis tonight, even with the hot streak that the Spartans are on. CHS is 6-0 in their last 6 games since league play started, with a goal differential of 32-2 since league play began.
Corvallis has developed quite a bit of confidence in some of the results and a whole bunch of scoring going on here in the last 10 days. But this does actually potentially become a bit of a trap game, because North Salem, even though the results aren't exactly what Coach Maciel wants, it's a very talented squad, and they're young enough that they probably aren't that aware. Read the press clippings that Corvallis is Corvallis. So that coming in here, they play loose and free, and they got a good start. They're a very technical team, and watching them in warm-ups, I was surprised with the quality. So looking forward to some competitive soccer tonight.
The top 4 teams from this conference advance to the postseason. North Salem is one of those teams in the middle that are unsure of their spot. There's a few teams that have secured postseason berths already. Corvallis is one of them. Looking at the Mid-Willamette Conference standings, Corvallis, West Albany, and Silverton are right there at the top. West Albany and Silverton with 4 wins apiece. Looks like Nathaniel Estrada back there in the box needing some assistance from the trainers. Estrada, a senior on the back line for Corvallis. North Salem is right behind, currently in 5th place at 3-3, tied with Crescent Valley. CV came away with a big win over South Albany, which all of a sudden puts the Red Hawks' postseason chances in jeopardy. South Albany's on the road at Silverton tonight for their final game of the regular season. Good to see Nathaniel Estrada able to get back up. But if South Albany loses that game at Silverton tonight, they'd drop to 4-4. And it's possible that either North Salem or Crescent Valley could tie or surpass them. And CV now has the tiebreaker over South Albany after beating the Red Hawks, after Corvallis gave a drubbing to South Albany 6-0 in our last Oregon Sports Beat broadcast. And a big game for Corvallis, a statement game, said head coach Chad Foley.
Yeah, it's a unique setup at the boys 5A. There's 4 leagues at the 5A level, and for the Mid-Willamette League, first 4 teams are guaranteed a spot in the playoffs, with the 5th place team having to figure some things out with the 5th place team down in the Eugene area, the Midwestern League. So that league also, the top 4 teams make the playoffs. And then that's why the rankings are so important. Whoever's rated highest of those 2 leagues from their 5th place teams get that final playoff spot. So nowadays coaches are looking quite frequently, hitting their refresh buttons to see how the rankings change off of all these results. For example, earlier tonight, Ridgeview's scored a 3-0 victory over the Dows, and they moved from 8th to 6th. And then other schools are moving around. So it's kind of a fun time of the year, but it's also a bit unnerving for coaches.
Edgar Monroy draws a foul. He and Jonah Craig up top for the free kick. Monroy goes on frame, but it is collected by Jacob Jensen. Coming in for Corvallis to replace Nathaniel Estrada is Jesus Pulido. Hopefully Nathaniel will be healthy enough to return at some point tonight, needing some assistance on the sidelines at the moment, and a critical senior defender for Corvallis the last few years. He's a 3rd-year varsity player for the Spartans and tested by this North Salem offensive attack right now with Max Kelly coming off his line. That 5th place team in the Midwestern League right now is Churchill. And like you said, Tony, although the league record decides the top 4 teams that get automatic berths, that 5th place team that comes out of the Mid-Willamette Conference or the Midwestern League, that's not decided by league record by the OSAA rankings. The problem is Churchill has a pretty good OSAA ranking at 10, although it's possible they'll win their last couple, move ahead of Springfield, and they drop down to 5th, which would help out because Springfield's at 15th.
Yes, it's kind of the fun or unique thing about this. Suddenly you start cheering for teams you don't even know where their school's at because you want them to beat somebody else that you want to pass in the rankings. Corvallis High, though, now it's a tradition. They're not concerned too much about those kind of things as far as making the playoffs. They're secured that. And if they get a good result here this evening, they'll be going in as 3-time Mid-Willamette champions. But even then, the ranking is important because they don't want to be traveling in the quarterfinals or even in that first round.
Last year in this matchup between Corvallis and North Salem, it was the Vikings starting off really hot. The first year for Salvador Maciel, and the first time he faced Corvallis, it was the Vikings scoring right away about a minute into that contest. Played hard defense throughout and kept Corvallis off balance, held that lead for a large portion of that game, gave up a goal to tie it up at 1-1. It stayed that way until the very close of the game. The North Salem had a free kick, couldn't score, and Corvallis on a quick counterattack got a goal in the final seconds right before full time. And Corvallis came away with a 2-1 victory on the road last year. North Salem trying to get vengeance tonight over a Corvallis team that went on to win the state championship last year. Spencer Vingelin cuts away that pass in traffic for Corvallis, gets it ahead to Naif Al-Sharif, who scored in their last home game against South Albany. Eric Ponce grounds one, but picked up by Jensen.
So the Spartans, as they're they cut out a pass right there and putting a little bit of pressure from time to time. They're doing the same thing that they did the other night against South Albany, just taking some shots from distance and testing the quality of the keeper.
Ball going back to the hands of Corvallis in their black kits tonight on senior night. There are 8 seniors on this roster. Chad Foley gave some nice words in the pregame warm-ups on microphone down from the field about 20 minutes before kickoff here, and then gave the microphone to each of the 8 players to introduce themselves and give props to the family that was there, naming the parents or siblings, family that's here watching them on their final regular season game of their high school careers here at Spartan Field at Bob Holt Stadium. So a nice moment there for those 8 seniors from earlier today: Ian Spihar, Nathaniel Estrada, Edgar Monroy, John Foltz, Luke Rebar Bowling, Spencer Vingelin, Jesus Rodriguez, and Gerardo Gonzalez.
Senior night's a fun night, as I was saying earlier, to celebrate the accomplishments of those that have put a lot of sweat and tears and help build the success and continued tradition. It's also a time you start peeking ahead towards next year and see what kind of holes are there. And so it's worth mentioning Corvallis High's JV program. They've got 3 JV teams, have been incredibly successful. I'm not keeping close track, but I've never heard of any of the 3 teams actually having lost a game this fall. So the Spartans will be able to reload pretty effectively next year.
Chad Foley credited the seniors with a large portion of what caused this turnaround partway through the season, if you can call it a turnaround, as Jonah Craig, a nice ball down low, and it is kicked in off the carom. Spencer Vingelin was the one who got the ball in the back of the net. The question is, will it count?
Yeah, so the assistant raises his flag to indicate somebody was offsides, but the center wants to make sure that that player was actually involved in the play.
So was Vingelin the one offsides? And after some discussion between the referees, it looks like Vingelin's kick will be added to the scoreboard. Spencer Vingelin, his 5th goal of the season and his 4th just in the last few games, got 2 in their last match, scored against South Albany as well. And Corvallis on the board, and Edgar Monroy trying to add another one to it, trying to draw a foul, but no whistle.
So actually, Josh, I think they did confirm and pull the goal back.
Oh, so no goal on that one, just to clarify.
Yes, I'm sorry. So no goal. So I was confused as well. The signal that the center referee gave kind of sounded like, and there was some cheering in the crowd, that they did give the goal to Corvallis, but might have some Viking fans here that were cheering that the goal was called off.
Okay, so no goal for Spencer Vingelin after all that. There was the offside flag raised, and the officials determined he was involved in the play, and the score remains 0-0.
I'm not so sure if Spencer was offsides or somebody that impeded the goalkeeper was in an offsides position. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the score themselves that impacts the play. It was kind of a bang-bang play, so not real sure. But it is good that the officials communicated and sorted out, and hoping that they came up with the right decision.
Vingelin, a senior, and I was saying a moment ago, Chad Foley crediting this senior class with the turnaround after CHS started this year 3-3 in the non-conference portion of the schedule, and due to some forfeits with eligibility issues in the OSAA schedule, technically in win-loss. At one point, Corvallis was actually 1-5, if you can believe that. Defending state champions and perhaps the hottest team in the state of Oregon right now. And this team started 1 win in their first 6 matches. But ever since then, they've been on an absolute tear. 6-0 in league play, getting some statement wins against quality programs like South Albany, beating the Red Hawks 6-0 earlier. Also, good to see Nathaniel Estrada coming back into this game, injured earlier. Corvallis beating South Albany 6-0, a 6-0 win also against Lebanon in their last match, 5-0 against Crescent Valley. So Corvallis hasn't allowed a goal in their last 3 matches, also beating Silverton and Central in closer games, and a 10-0 win over Dallas. So they've scored 32 goals in league play, allowing just 2 goals in their last 6 matches. And a large portion of that is the seniors coming on strong, and not only that, but getting the younger guys familiar with their roles and knowing where to find their spots, and this team has really come together.
The flow of this game for me, Josh, is similar to the other night. I'll hold up here for a second.
Moises Quijada puts one into the center of the box, but found out by the back line of North Salem. Still haven't cleared it yet before Vingelin's kick goes off the body of North Salem defender Nathan Martinez Sanchez.
So what I'm seeing is North Salem, they started the game very technical, very confident, knocked the ball around a little bit, and Corvallis is slowly being a little bit more physically strong, having a little bit more say on the game and the flow of the game, taking some long-distance shots. And again, credit to Corvallis that they kind of weathered a storm of a team showing some good energy at the start of the game. So now it'll be interesting to see if North can stay defensively compact, as it feels like Corvallis is going to maybe have a little bit more play.
Pretty even possession-wise so far tonight as Eric Ponce fights with Diodane Quilongo for the ball. Quilongo is the leading scorer so far this season for North Salem. Leads this team with 11 goals on the year. He's a refugee from Tanzania, country on the east coast of Africa. Came to Salem, part of a program that they have in Salem called Salem for Refugees. A lot of guys both on the JV teams of this North Salem squad are part of that same program from various countries, including Diodane Quilongo, wearing number 17 tonight. And he's the leading scorer for North Salem. Came in last year, moving to America. He was a freshman last year and played varsity, and now one of the leading players as a sophomore for North Salem as Jonah Craig tries to find Naif Al-Sharif cutting off the ball and cleared away. Quilongo played varsity last year, didn't even know enough English to really hold a conversation with Salvador Maciel, the head coach. Now knows enough to have a discussion with his head coach and has developed quite the insatiable curiosity of learning soccer. Came in with a lot of talent, played in Tanzania, but not really organized soccer, so he had a lot of coaching needed from Maciel, and he's developed into a much more skilled player and finishing 11 goals this year. And quite the story for Diodane Quilongo. That program, Salem for Refugees, headed by Doug and Anya Holcomb, are the co-directors, partnering with Salem Leadership Foundation and Salem Alliance Church. And very mutually beneficial both for that community and families like the one from Diodane Quilongo. He and his family now live in Salem and travel out here to Corvallis for a critical matchup with the Spartans.
Yeah, a program like that, it's a great story to hear, and I remember when he came in last year, and it was so impressive as a player, but also just his mentality and his personality that he brings to the program. But also what the kids do as they attend the schools in Salem after they get settled in and resettled, get some stability in their families. When they show up at the schools, that's an incredible value add to the communities that they come into, the school communities. And North Salem, I know a little bit about their school program, and they embrace that diversity, and it's pretty heartwarming to hear the stories of the kids that are able to come in and like I say, resettle in Salem.
Soccer absolutely is the world's leading sport and a type of game that brings communities together. And what better way to join a community and a team and a whole program than a sport to bring a guy like Diodane Quilongo into the program. I'm sure it was tough for him not speaking the language as he tumbles to the turf on the far side of the field. But I would have to guess that made his transition a little easier to play a sport he was familiar with and passionate about, as much as it may have been tough for him to make friends and speak the language and be in school in a whole new country, being a refugee from Tanzania.
And he gets the added break of having an incredible person for his high school varsity coach in Salvador Maciel. Sal works in Albany at the Albany Jackson Street Youth Shelter, and he's got a tremendous heart for kids. So and getting a chance to coach at his alma mater at North Salem, I know that's very meaningful to him, having gotten to know Sal. But what's really cool and heartwarming is he knows the importance of the stability that moving to Salem is for these kids from this program. But he also knows from his work at Jackson Street Youth Shelter how to really minister or to support these kids in the best way.
Salvador Maciel, head coach for North Salem, second year in the program as head coach, works with at-risk youth, 10 to 17 years old, and supervises a homeless shelter, part of his work with Jackson Street Youth Services, both Lynn and Benton counties. Also coaches with TFA. And following quite the prestigious group of North Salem coaches, he's just the third coach in almost 4 decades with the Vikings, as this foul will give the ball on a free kick to North Salem. 25 years put into this program as for head coach Rich Schwarzentrooper, and before him, Coach Yoder, 10 years in the program. And so when Maciel took over last fall, there was a pretty established culture and long line of coaches here, a long line of years by a few coaches. Is Max Kelly able to take that one? And I asked Maciel, with all those years put in by those coaches, what sort of culture were you inheriting? What was the program like? And he said, when I came in, there was a lot of young talent who knew what this program was about because it had been established for so long. It's a really strong school and really focusing on academics because that's such a huge part. It's not easy for these guys to be involved in academics because a lot of them have to work and support their own families, as Nathaniel Estrada trying to get away from Quilongo. And so he tries to get the players to put a high emphasis on academics to set themselves up for success in the Salem-Kaiser area, and does a lot of good work both at North Salem High School and with Jackson Street Youth Services.
Yeah, over the years, there's been some really challenging matches. You go into North Salem and play at Barrack Park, and nowadays they do play in their turf field on campus. But it used to be a nasty trip going to Barrack Park, often playing in the rain or the mud. And North Salem was always a very organized, talented team, and Rich did a great job over the years and passed over a very strong program that Salvador is going to be able to continue building.
Edgar Monroy trying to read the eyes of the defender and now making it run off the ball. Here's Edgar Monroy trying to go far post and couldn't quite fit it in on the far side. And this game remains scoreless.
Yeah, getting back to the pattern flow of the game, similar to the other night where even though North Salem's had some play on the ball, they really haven't broken down the structure of the Spartan back four. And when they do collect the ball back, I'm talking about Corvallis High, playing it quickly through Jonah Craig, and tonight Spencer Vangland's had some good play in transitioning the ball through that middle third of the field. I don't think that's going to be the last time we see a dangerous counterattack, and North Salem's going to want to keep an eye on Edgar. He didn't miss by too much on that last shot.
Corvallis keeping the pressure high on North Salem. Edgar Monroy just missing far post on that one. He already leads the team with 16 goals on the season, 11 in league. And I don't know what is more impressive for a senior like Edgar Monroy, that he has 16 goals this season, or that he had 63 on his career coming into this season. He's at 79 goals. And I asked Chad Foley, do you know what the record is, or who's the next guy closest? And he said, I don't know the next guy or what the full record list is, but one thing I'm sure about it, and that's Edgar Monroy is the #1 guy. There's no one close to him. So Edgar Monroy is the all-time leading goal scorer in Corvallis High School history and nearly got his 80th goal there in his career moments ago. It's been a long career for Edgar Monroy, getting 5A Player of the Year his sophomore year. His teammate won it last year in Avery Whipple. And he'll be critical for Corvallis's postseason run and how far the Spartans go. I mean, you've watched Edgar for a long time now, Tony. What is if there's one or two things in particular that have allowed him to get just shy of 80 goals in his career? What would you point out for Edgar Monroy?
Well, what I'm struck with, having seen him play, only got to see him play once or twice the last few years. I was busy over at South Albany coaching, but seeing him 5 or 6 times this year, I'm really struck with his composure. He's relaxed on the ball. His first touch, as he just showed right there, is pretty impeccable. So when he gets around the frame, he doesn't. The nerves don't get the best of him, and usually most of his strikes are on frame, and has an opportunity to score. So And I think he'd be one of the first to give credit to his teammates over these 4 years to be in a spot where he's finishing so much from the positive build-up from the players around him.
Corvallis will lose a number of talented seniors from this squad. They have 8 seniors in this class, although they had about double that last year in their state championship team and have rebounded pretty well to be one of the most talented teams in the state, and they're playing like a #1 type team since league play started. If there is a guy who can fill the role of Edgar Monroy, not that that's possible easily or at all, and I don't think Coach Foley will put that pressure on any one individual for next season, but Mauricio Nieves-Bernal has been quite the scoring complement for Edgar Monroy this season, posting 11 goals of his own and 3 assists, including 6 goals in league play. He's a junior this year, so will be a key part not only this season towards the postseason this year, but in the fall of 2020 for Corvallis.
Yeah, Mauricio, he comes from pretty good pedigree in terms of older brother that played and was successful here at Corvallis High School. But he also, as I was just trying to sing the praise of Edgar, how composed he is and relaxed on the ball. Mauricio fits in that category as well. In fact, I think I got him confused with Edgar just a moment ago in terms of that quality first touch.
That's a compliment to Mauricio with how skilled Edgar Monroy is as this ball goes back to Corvallis. Still scoreless about 25 minutes into this contest at Bob Holt Stadium on a chilly but beautiful evening for Mid-Willamette Conference soccer. 58 degrees at kickoff. No rain in the forecast tonight. This production of Mid-Willamette Conference soccer brought to you by Even Flow Plumbing, specializing in complete plumbing and drain cleaning services, and their flat rates mean no surprises at the end of the job. When you need a pro, go with the flow, Even Flow Plumbing. Gerardo Gonzalez coming in for Corvallis. You were wondering, Tony, if they'd start all the seniors. They didn't start them, but we are seeing perhaps the seniors being subbed in throughout the game, and Gonzalez comes in for Corvallis, one of the seniors for the Spartans.
It's a pretty clever approach, better approach than sometimes when you start all of your seniors, and if a number of them haven't been starting, then you get a collection of players that aren't used to starting, and then sometimes you get a bad flow at the beginning, and we're still playing for results because Corvallis wants to win, to be league champions, and improve their ranking. That's a pretty good approach that Chad's taken here.
Corvallis well on their way for claiming the league championship, especially with a couple games less, as Moises Quijada entering the box, dribbling, trying to put it back on his left foot, back to Eric Ponce. Eric Monroy wanted this, Edgar Monroy, but the shot from Gonzalez is picked up cleanly by Jacob Jensen.
That's a pretty good example of having some real solid technique to be able to relax, to have Quesada to hold the ball like that and cut. With the panic defending that North Salem defender was putting in play there, it was fortunate that they didn't clip Quesada and cause a penalty kick. But then they have a ball laid off and have your right fullback in the box taking a strike on goal. That's pretty mature soccer for 5A high school. And again, I'll be interested to see if Corvallis is able to do that as they get, because I anticipate they're going to get deep in the playoffs. So it'll be fun to see if they're able to do that against the top quality that they'll maybe meet in the quarterfinals or semifinals if they get that far.
Quality header there a moment ago for Spencer Vingelen to head off that long kick from North Salem. Spencer Vingelen's been fun to watch this season, a 3-year starter for the Spartans, and I would say, and Chad Foley said at first, that he's perhaps the most versatile player as Max Kelly picks that one up off one bounce from Kilongo. Vingelen started for 3 years, has played virtually every position, started on defense, moved up to midfield, has played both holding center and attacking mid. That ball almost given away to Jesus Martinez Lara for North Salem. And he's also played forward. In fact, Foley put him up forward in the last game against Lebanon, and he scored 2 goals. He now has 4 on the season, mostly playing in the back line. We also saw him score off a rebound in the game against South Albany, one of the 6 goals the Spartans scored against a quality South Albany team with 4 wins of their own in league play. Vingelen also is a player's player, Foley said. You've heard of players, coaches, but he's a team captain and a guy that his teammates really love to be around. Funny and edgy, Foley says, a fiery competitor. And you can put him anywhere, and he can clear balls away or put goals in the back of the net. As Moises Quijada comes out of this game for Corvallis, will be subbed in by Gus Lursak, freshman for the Spartans. Also coming in for North Salem is sophomore Anthony Villas-Cisneros. "30 minutes into this contest almost here at Corvallis High School. Thanks for joining us on Oregon Sports Beat.
Corvallis is, I think, firmly taking control of the game in terms of possession and being able to play relaxed out of the back. And as North Salem's still continuing trying to find some quick counters and through balls, Corvallis maintains its shape. So what I'm watching now, Josh, is the link up to the frontline players, given that there's some substitutions that's going on and maybe players getting used to one another, even though we're late in the season.
Ball's stolen away, and Martinez, Lara, nice pass in the attacking third, but Corvallis will get it back.
So Corvallis has just shown tremendous confidence, being able to give seniors their run on senior night and try to figure out ways to link up while players are playing a little bit out of position, but keeping that back line solid. And again, I don't see very much panic, even though they've given the ball away a couple times in dangerous spots.
Edgar Monroy dribbling and sending this one left of the goal as Spencer Vingelen was making a run. Almost linked up for the first goal of this match late in the first half. Moises Quijada returns for the Spartans. Made a great steal and assist in an earlier game we had here in the Corvallis win earlier this season against Central, or against Crescent Valley, excuse me. It was the first goal of that contest against the Raiders. Diodana Quilongo in the corner, looking for a cross, trying to find Martinez Lara. Jonah Craig gets in the way. Off a bounce, and Max Kelly gets that one off a powerful kick from outside the box from North Salem player Angel Lopez. Neither team has scored tonight. Corvallis and North Salem about equal number of chances. Haven't seen a lot of set pieces either. In fact, we have seen no corner kicks yet tonight. A couple free kicks for Corvallis. No foul on that one, or at least not for a moment. And then it is called as North Salem's Noah Jacobo went to the carpet. Elias Gallardo Rosas coming in to clear that one away. Salvador Maciel, head coach for the Vikings, saying the Mid-Willamette Conference pretty assuredly the best one in the league. We'll get to that in just a moment. Also, this production of Mid-Willamette Conference Soccer brought to you by Praise Cheesus, our area's newest food truck offering gourmet grilled cheese. Praise Cheesus is proud to feature cheeses from the Oregon State University Creamery Department and would love to come to your event or workplace. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Edgar Monroy bicycling that one back to Jonah Craig. Maciel saying this conference is the best one at the 5A level, as Jesus Martinez Lara trying to attack and kicked away by Gallardo Rosas, but will be the first corner of the night. But North Salem, a pretty quality squad, and they may find themselves outside the playoffs, in part because of the quality teams they play week in and week out in this conference. And they may need some help to get to the 4th or 5th spot in this conference to get into the postseason.
Yeah, as the season's unfolded, there's been some results that sometimes are head scratchers or baffling, but
Kelly on a queen take, and it is kicked in for North Salem. They get on the board first. It's Manuel Barocio Garcia, and the Vikings have taken a 1-0 lead over the Spartans.
So some head-scratching results I was talking about, and so with North Salem scoring right here just before halftime, maybe this is going to be one of those results. Be interesting to see how Corvallis responds to going down. They haven't been behind at home for quite a while. So good credit to North Salem to attack the ball in that corner kick after it dropped.
On a clean take on the back end from Kelly, and Barocio Garcia right there in the corner kick to boot it in, although plenty of time for Corvallis to respond. And with their powerful offense with 45 minutes of game time tonight, I'd be pretty surprised if they ended with a goose egg on the board here in senior night, and Edgar Monroy would like to do something about that. That long diagonal pass to Moises Quijada does find Moises just outside the box.
So some of the other results, great credit to Crescent Valley. They were here a while back and got a drubbing against their rivals 5-0. But since then, they've won a couple games, including a big win at South Albany on Tuesday this week. They're at Lebanon today, so if they get a result that might be expected against Lebanon, Lebanon's struggled a bit the last little bit. Crescent Valley's got a chance to control their own destiny. They finished with North Salem. And a few weeks ago, it didn't look very good, but credit to Kyle Calder and the CV boys for pulling things together. They got a great chance of making the playoffs this year.
Yeah, that'd be big for the Raiders, where you might not have expected Crescent Valley coming into the season to be in this position, but with a big win over South Albany, they put themselves in a great spot to be right in competition as Gus Lursak trying to find this ball before it goes over the end line and almost gets there. In on defense for North Salem is Juan Carlos Rangel Salas, and it'll be a goal kick for the Vikings.
So regardless how this match plays out in the second half, it's a great evening for North Salem. Coach Maciel was talking about having, I think, 11 sophomores on the program, and I wouldn't say rebuilding, but he continues to build. And for this young team to come in and take a lead at Corvallis High is going to be something to build on. And even if they don't get the win tonight, they still control their own destiny as far as making the playoffs by ending the season with a game against Crescent Valley.
North Salem plays the Raiders in their regular season finale. Corvallis also has one more game. They'll be on the road at West Albany Tuesday. Jose Cervantes checks in for North Salem for the first time tonight with 3 minutes and change remaining here in the first half.
Now, if this result stands, if Corvallis High doesn't get a victory here, that game at West Albany would be for the league championship. I believe West Albany is 4-1-1. Playing Dallas today, so if they came in at 5-1-1 and Corvallis was 6-1, they'd have all to play for in terms of winning the championship themselves for the Bulldogs.
Yeah, if West Albany wins that one, they'd give Corvallis perhaps a second loss, although a lot would have to happen here tonight for Corvallis to get their first league loss of the season. And on the hot streak Corvallis has been on, it would be quite the surprise if they scored 32 goals in their first 6 league matches and then got blanked by North Salem tonight, although the Vikings have been great defensively, holding Corvallis in check. The Spartans did get 1 goal in the net in this half, but it was wiped away on offside. Spencer Vingelen scored on a rebound. And the 1 goal for North Salem coming in the 35th minute off a corner kick, put in by Manuel Barocio Garcia.
So So that goal in the lead has energized North Salem. They're firmer into the tackle here these last few minutes, and spying out Corvallis, I'm sure Coach Foley can't wait for halftime to come so he can maybe try to light a fire, because the Spartans aren't showing that energy in the reaction. Edgar had a few good moments on the ball right after the goal, but that urgency is not there. But also with the whole second half to play and the maturity that Corvallis has, I'm sure they feel like they're fine. But Coach Foley's going to probably have something to say here in a few minutes.
Mauricio Nieves-Brunel comes in for Gerardo Gonzalez to close out this first half with just over a minute remaining as Edgar Monroy checks back to this ball, but no foul called there. Monroy taking up space, but losing it to Noah Jacobo. Cervantes, the victim of that foul. Free kick upcoming for North Salem in the closing moments of this first half. North Salem leading 1-0 over a Corvallis team that has not lost since their non-conference finale when they lost at South Salem 3-1 back on September 24th. Still plenty to play here tonight, but so far North Salem in control. Max Kelly with the goal kick. We'll see if he or Carl Mellinger comes out in goal at the start of the second half. We've seen them split halves a lot this season ever since Mellinger got healthy. Perhaps they'll do it again as the first half comes to a close. After 40 minutes of play, it's Corvallis yet to score. North Salem 1. We'll see if the Vikings can close out with this upset victory and make a statement and a big boost to their postseason hopes, as a exhausted already Juan Carlos Rangel Salas gets some help from his teammates to go back. They've got 40 more minutes to see if they can pull off this win over Corvallis. It's 1-0, North Salem leading. This production of high school soccer brought to you by Even Flow Plumbing, specializing in complete plumbing and drain cleaning services. They serve both commercial and residential clients. They're fully bonded, insured, and licensed. The phone number for Even Flow Plumbing is 541-738-8853. Also, Praise Jesus is a new food truck to the Corvallis, Albany area and a proud supporter of high school sports, offering gourmet grilled cheese sandwiches with soups and sides featuring fresh local produce. Praise Jesus is ready to come to your event or workplace. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. 1-0 with North Salem with the lead. We'll be back in a few moments with second half action here at Corvallis High School on Oregon Sports Beat. Sound good on your end, Ryan? Can you bump up my headset volume a little bit? I'm not really hearing. It's not a huge deal because I can still hear Tony, but if you can just bump that up, so that'd be nice. Sounds good. I might get one more read in right before the second half starts. Welcome back to Corvallis High School, where North Salem has taken a 1-0 lead over Corvallis in the first 40 minutes of this ball game at Bob Holt Stadium at Corvallis High School. We'd like to remind you that this production of Corvallis High School soccer and the Mid-Willamette Conference brought to you by Even Flow Plumbing. Specializes in complete plumbing and drain cleaning services, and their flat rates mean no surprises at the end of the job. When you need a pro, go with the flow. Even Flow Plumbing at 541-738-8853. Well, a 1-0 lead for North Salem through the first half. Corvallis trying to respond. I'm Josh Worden on Oregon Sports Beat, joined by Coach Tony Vandermeer. Most recently coached with South Albany High School, also coaching with Corvallis boys and girls in Redmond and all over the world, South Korea as well. And Tony, you were talking about, sometimes in these big games where Corvallis is on senior night, trying to make a late push in the regular season to go into the postseason on a high note, is times where you're trying to get the players to play with the intensity to match the situation. It's not always easy. How would you coach these guys at halftime in a game like this, trailing 1-0 to North Salem?
Yeah, there's a different answer for every year, every team. Every season's unique, and so the coaches try to get a pulse of the players and the leaders, and take the hard approach of get more aggressive, intense, or appeal to the context of the situation, saying, guys, we're playing for a championship, or do you want to ramp it up a little bit in terms of giving them a message of their energy's lacking, and they need to stand up to the situation. So it's one of the fun things about coaching high school sports. And as Chad, obviously, he knows what he's doing. This is a chance to be league champs for yet another year. So it'll be interesting to hear from after the game what he said to him at halftime. I said earlier in the broadcast, he's a pretty intense competitor. So I'm wondering if he took the hard approach or the soft approach.
We'll see if Corvallis will come out with more energy in the second half. Saw Spencer Vingelin, a senior and a team captain, waving his arms up and down right as this ball was kicked off to start the second half. And these seniors for Corvallis led the way so well this season. Can they rip off one more big win at home to close out senior night at Corvallis High School? Is that Jonah Craig kick well over the crossbar, and a goal kick for North Salem. Thanks for joining us on Oregon Sports Beat for our final regular season broadcast of Corvallis High School soccer. Through the first half, North Salem's lone goal off a corner kick with Manuel Barocio Garcia putting it into the net for the Vikings. Here's Edgar Monroy, one goal shy of the 80 plateau as a senior. Maybe an assist on this one. Naif Al-Sharif off the right post and wide.
That was a great run by Edgar, and instead of trying to do too much, he did get the ball off his foot just at the right time. And I was thinking about Al-Sharif. Didn't see him much last game and the first half of this game, and I've been really impressed with him. So I think Chad's put his top-line players in the spots he wants them going into the playoffs. So it'll be interesting to see how long Sharif plays up top in the 9 spot.
Spencer Vingelin playing the attacking midfield position to open up this second half. He and Edgar Monroy, Naif Al-Sharif, and Moises Quijada forming the attack for Corvallis as Diodane Quilongo takes a elbow from Nathaniel Estrada and goes to the turf. It'll be a free kick and somewhat dangerous position for North Salem in the opening moments of the second half here at Bob Holt Stadium.
Yeah, some fast feet from the North Salem player, and not necessarily panic defending on Estrada's part, but he did have his hands full and made sure that he didn't get the ball played behind him.
Nathan Martinez Sanchez to the left of the ball. Christian Romero leaves him alone and goes towards the box. Sanchez's winding kick is booted away, but not cleared yet. Jackson Myers trying to play defense before Corvallis. Estrada gets a piece of that one. And finally kicked away by Ponce, as right on his hip was Christian Romero.
This is an interesting moment right now because North Salem playing with some confidence, ball in their feet in the box, and Corvallis maybe a little bit panicked there at that moment, leading to another corner kick. So this is pretty interesting. If Corvallis went down 2-0, this would be a whole different situation.
It was the first corner kick of the game and the only one to this point. The North Salem got their first goal, and Corvallis, after a brief moment of anticipation, gets that clearage from Elias Gallardo Rosas. Second ball from Jesse Garcia gets it back to the attacking third from North Salem. That ball launched by Romero. Will be a goal kick for Max Kelly, who stays in for the second half tonight. Carl Mellinger has gotten a lot of playing time in goal of late for Corvallis, but Max Kelly stays in for half number 2. Corvallis getting the better of North Salem last year, 2-1, with a counterattack goal just seconds before full time as Gallardo Rosas seeds a corner kick, the third of this ball game.
Again, some nervy moments for Corvallis High School. Max has been pretty strong off his line and commanding his box pretty much all year, but a little soft in the communication there. And defender, instead of taking chances, just put out for the corner.
Looped in the box, but headed away by Edgar Monroy, actually. Here is Mauricio Nieves Bernal spinning and having it taken away. But a whistle will stop this attack for North Salem. The Vikings trying to get into at least the position at 5th place in the Mid-Willamette Conference. Either the 5th place team from the Midwestern League or Mid-Willamette head on to the postseason. The top 4 are assured of postseason bids from this conference. At 3-3 in league, North Salem currently tied at 5th, with Crescent Valley getting a win over South Albany recently. Meanwhile, South Albany on the road at Silverton tonight, with South Albany currently in the standings also at 4-3 right now. Alone in 4th place are the Red Hawks entering tonight's action.
So the longer the score stays 1-0, I think more and more intensity or nerves are going to creep in that Corvallis is going to have to deal with. And so at the start of this half, credit North Salem, they're playing more confident, and Corvallis is not playing very clean to their standards anyways. Some of the balls that are getting knocked out are ones that typically you don't see out of the Spartans.
Set piece for North Salem. Haven't really seen many set pieces at all for Corvallis tonight. No corner kicks for the Spartans. Into the box towards Diodane Kilongo, but Jonah Craig in his lengthy frame able to get first touch on it. Off the foot of Mauricio Nieves Bernal. It'll be interesting to see what the postseason matchups are. One regular season game remain for each of these two teams here tonight, but the postseason getting started pretty quick after that. Right now, Corvallis is the number 9 team in the OSAA rankings, although they've looked like, you know, a 1 or 2 seed since league play began because of the non-conference record. Right now, they'd actually be on the road even in round number 1 in the postseason, although that could easily change depending on how they do, as Edgar Monroy has his feet taken out from underneath him. It'll be a free kick for Corvallis, and probably the most dangerous set piece of the night so far for the Spartans.
That's good work on Monroy's part in terms of trying to take the bull by the horns, I suppose, and try to break down North's defense by running at pace and causing that foul.
Jonah Craig kicked it into the feet of Jesse Garcia, who wasn't backing off initially. The referees discuss, calm the players down, and we're good to go.
Yeah, so North Salem's in the mode of trying to kill the game a little bit, take some time, be slow stepping off the ball.
It'll be Edgar Monroy on the free kick, and it is blocked away initially. Jonah Craig sprinting in for the carom, but wide right. Not a clean take from Jacob Jensen, but he doesn't have to pay. And North Salem maintains their 1-0 advantage. Jonah Craig, who's a great passer at midfield for Corvallis, has a couple goals on the season, 2 goals scored and 7 assists on the year for Craig, the son of Oregon State assistant coach B.J. Craig. And a lot of these seniors, we talked about the senior class, are not just great goal scorers, but a lot of assists coming from that class. Spencer Vingelen, 6 assists to his name. Edgar Monroy with 10. Jonah Craig and Ian Spihar have combined for 9. A lot of those guys have more assists than they have goals, and great facilitators, especially from the senior class as that ball goes over the end line.
Corvallis has picked up the intensity. The sharpness isn't quite there yet, but that movement a little while back where Edgar got that free kick and put a dangerous shot on frame seems to have woken him up. One of the other things that did get accomplished by that, by Jonah trying to have that quick restart, he knew full well that there wasn't going to be any yellow card, but now he's established in the referee's mind that the North Salem players need to back off in case it becomes an extended time-wasting scenario on their part. So again, some maturity on Jonah's part in terms of managing the game and taking some control in ways that aren't necessarily while the ball's in play.
Moises Quijada over to Naif Al-Sharif on the far side. Quijada trying to cut off the ball in a give-and-go situation. Defended well by North Salem. Kilongo trying to win the ball in the middle of the field. Misplayed going back to Monroy, and Romero ends up with it for North Salem. And Ponce just kicks this one wide. A sponsor of tonight's broadcast is Praise Cheesus, our area's newest food truck offering gourmet grilled cheese. Praise Cheesus is proud to feature cheeses from the Oregon State University Creamery Department and would love to come to your event or workplace. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter. Corvallis still scoreless through the first 52 minutes of this contest, and this is a Spartan offense that has posted some gaudy numbers in recent games, but right now North Salem on the attack. That ball going through for a goal kick, but Corvallis 6 goals against Lebanon, 6 goals against South Albany, 5 against Crescent Valley in their last 3 matches. So Tony, what has changed either for the North Salem defense that has played so well or something different from Corvallis' attack that has gone from a team scoring 17 goals in their last 3 matches, but none yet tonight?
Well, to North Salem's credit, being able to keep the ball and be fairly dangerous on the counterattack. There's moments like that the other night that South Albany displayed, but Corvallis on the counterattack scored and took their nerves out of the game. So tonight, until they get that first goal, I think they're going to be playing a little bit tight. There's been a number of touches that are poor quality. There's no other way to say it. And so Corvallis is playing with a little bit of nerves, and the longer this goes on, the tougher it's going to be for them to relax and get some play going. So at moments like that, you're waiting for somebody like Edgar or Nieves Bernal to go ahead and do something spectacular on a one-on-one kind of a situation.
Still no corner kicks for Corvallis tonight as Spencer Vingelin's pass goes to the sideline and back to North Salem.
I think there's an example right there, a little frustration in the crowd that's moaning and groaning a little bit. Spencer didn't play ball real cleanly, but also the forward didn't bend his run to come get the ball into his feet. And so things that are coming naturally when the games are flowing for you is not coming so naturally tonight.
Monroy trying to put this one into the box, but Jensen slides in to clean it up for North Salem. So the Vikings still holding that clean sheet over the heads of Corvallis so far through about 55 minutes of play at Bob Holt Stadium. As Jackson Myers pressured by Kilongo, trying to draw a foul well outside the box, but no whistle is called. The lone goal tonight scored in the 35th minute by Manuel Barocio Garcia for North Salem. Salvador Maciel giving some attention to his injured player over on the sideline, and they stop the clock with 25:15 here in the second half at Corvallis High School.
So the flow of the game, or probably more accurately, the lack of flow of the game is to North Salem's benefit, and to a certain extent it's intentionally being done the way that they're playing the game, in terms of having lots of restarts and making it tough, cutting out passing lanes, and making Corvallis High truly prove that they're the better team. And so well played on North Salem's part. I think Salvador did a great job talking to him, talking through that first half and the halftime break. So their approach has been interesting and good to watch. They got a lot of young players, and to be able to do this in a mature fashion, this is, again, a great night regardless of the results at the end of the game.
The injured player for North Salem was Nathan Martinez Sanchez. Good to see him get up. He'll walk back onto the pitch as Corvallis will also send a substitute into this game. Looks like Gus Lursak entering for the Spartans, trying to get a spark, trailing 1-0 on senior night. Chad Foley getting a explanation from the referee. There was an injured player, then Corvallis had a substitute. It looked like Martinez Sanchez wanted to stay in this game, and at the moment is. And after a pause in the action, and a game that, like you said, Tony, hasn't had much flow to begin with, needing something to kind of get into a rhythm, and Corvallis wanting that, especially as Max Kelly takes it off that long kick, and the quick distribution out to Nathaniel Estrada. Mauricio Nieves Bernal trying to run down the sideline. Stays with Corvallis to Edgar Monroy. Nice tap to Nieves Bernal in the box against Garcia. Right-footed shot trying to go near post is wide left.
So good reaction. Max looks a little bit nervous coming off his line on that long ball, but then the quick distribution out left to Estrada, and then the quick restart of the throw-in. Those are good signs that Corvallis High is getting more motivated to play more urgently. I'm sorry. And Nieves Bernal trying to test the goalie with an outside of the foot shot was not a bad idea.
Looked like he kind of tried to switch up the rhythm and catch Jensen off guard, but couldn't get it on frame as Monroy looked like he was being pulled down on the left arm.
Yeah, I think the North Salem fans below us are complaining about that. That was a very smart and sophisticated play on Edgar's part to initiate the contact and to bring himself to the ground to get this restart.
From our vantage point, for all we know, he could have not been grabbed and just fallen down and played it off really well, or he could have been absolutely wrapped up around the bicep and thrown to the turf. Yeah, either he's a great actor or that really was a foul. Either way, Corvallis gets a free kick out of it with Noah Jacobo ending up getting the foul. No card on the play, but Corvallis with a free kick about 30 yards from goal.
Yeah, and from this distance, I'm not going to be surprised if either one of these players, Edgar or Jonah, takes a strike directly on goal.
Jonah Craig lets it go. Monroy trying to go on frame. Back of the net, top shelf, tie ball game. Edgar Monroy has his 80th career goal. the all-time leading scorer in Corvallis high school history. In an accurate finish that not many high school players could do, but Edgar Monroy is up to the task, fitting it in just inside the corner, and this game is tied at 1 goal apiece.
Josh, I don't think there's that many college and professional players that are going to hit that strike. The quality that Edgar just hit that. And if this ends up being his last high school game on this field, what an incredible way to end it with a strike like that. But from start to finish, Edgar has been taking control as best as he can, initiating the foul, getting that amazing shot on goal. Those are all, I think, proof that he's not quite ready to give up the championship on his home field here.
Well, Corvallis was waiting for that goal to break it through, and at this point you may wonder if the floodgates are open and either offense at this point scoring a quick goal after this, as the fans getting loud here at Bob Holt Stadium. That free kick came from the 25-yard line on the football field, and that goal is about 6 yards behind the goal line. So that's 31 yards away center of the field, and he put that thing inches inside the left post and under the crossbar. That was a phenomenal kick from Edgar Monroy, now making this pass to Mauricio Nieves-Bernal. His 80th career goal, 17th of his senior season, 12th in league play. For the 5A Player of the Year 2 years ago, a contender to regain that mantle this season, and just an absolute special player, and one of the best, if not the best, probably not even that controversial to say the best ever player to wear the Corvallis uniform. A long career wherever he wants to play in this game of soccer. Ties the game up 1-1, a foul going the other way. Martinez, Sanchez dribbling, and a yellow card issued to North Salem. And he's not happy about that. It was Nathan Martinez Sanchez. What's your take on that yellow card, Tony?
Yeah, I think, again, North Salem's a younger team, and I'm pretty sure they're pretty frustrated on the call down at the other end where Edgar got that free kick and the tying goal. Because quite honest, I'm not so sure the call. He might have been saying the North Salem player was embellishing and trying to draw the foul. That's the only thing I can think of in terms of why, because that, to be honest, looked like a foul on the Corvallis player. But I think the center referee interpreted that the North Salem player went down too easy and was trying to get the call, and so that's what the yellow card was about. And then the frustration increases even more, of course.
With the yellow card, Nathan Martinez Sanchez has to come off the pitch. Angel Lopez comes in to replace him. At the next opportunity, Jose Cervantes will also come in for North Salem, with things falling apart a little bit for the Vikings, but still tied at the moment as Edgar Monroy will draw that foul going to the turf. This is somewhat similar to last season when these two teams matched up, as Nathaniel Estrada can't corral that one. North Salem took a 1-0 lead in that ball game, as they've got another injured player, Noah Jacobo, on the turf. Hopefully just a cramp for him, as he was looking at his right calf and now getting stretched out by his teammate Jesus Martinez Lara. But last year, North Salem scored more quickly than in this game, but similarly took a 1-0 lead and then held that advantage for a large portion of the game before Corvallis tied it up, and then scored on a counterattack with seconds to go in regulation last year to take a 2-1 victory over North Salem last year. And this one feels somewhat similar, where North Salem kind of has control over Corvallis and then give up one goal, and we don't know who the next goal will be scored by, as Jacobo is able to stand up, which is good to see. But at the moment, the flow of this game seems to have changed largely, not even much before the Edgar Monroy free kick, but because of that goal from Edgar Monroy from 31 yards out.
Yeah, well said. It feels like Corvallis made me feel like they can be running downhill, and they've got some energy. And so the size and the age maturity between the two squads is starting to show with North Salem kids coming up with some aches and pains and some minor injuries. while Corvallis is looking a little stronger into the tackle. So things are heating up here. The score up in Silverton, South Albany's taken a 2-1 lead against Silverton in the second half. And of course, North Salem doesn't know that, but the final round of play is going to be pretty interesting to see, especially if this game ends up tied or if Corvallis is able to come back to win. There's going to be a whole lot to play for in those last couple playoff spots for this league.
That's a good bounce back for South Albany after struggling a little bit lately, as Martinez' Lara right-footed kick is handled by Max Kelly. South Albany got dominated by Corvallis 6-0 here at this venue, then dropped a game to Crescent Valley. But like you said, that 2-1 lead over Silverton, and if South Albany holds on to that lead, the Red Hawks would go to 5-3 on the season and basically be assured of a playoff spot, although Crescent Valley could win their final 2 games, finish 5-3, and have that tiebreaker over South Albany. So nothing is assured in Mid-Willamette Conference soccer, but they certainly help their case a lot, do South Albany.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is a favorite time of year for high school coaches to see all the different possibilities of play and where you might be traveling to or who you get to host. And again, it's an exciting time of year. I think the kids have a tough time maybe concentrating in classes, but then the coaches pull that together. And so good credit to Coach Tweeten after a couple of tough results last week. To get his team playing hard and being successful up at Silverton.
Christian Romero has that one stolen away by Nathaniel Estrada, who's made a good couple of tackles or steals tonight. They call him the muscle hamster, do the Spartans. He's a senior, third-year varsity player, and due to his stocky, muscular build on the back line, getting that moniker from his teammates, Muscle Hamster gets the steal, and Corvallis has not allowed a goal since that one corner kick in the 35th minute.
Oh, I've never heard that term before.
It's a good one.
Well done. That reminds me that Coach Foley was enlightening us last game with the names he has for his corner kicks. I hope they put enough pressure to get some corner kicks. I want to see what they're going to run tonight.
We haven't seen any corners yet tonight for Corvallis. They name their corner kicks based on various themes. This year the theme was Will Ferrell characters. We won't tell you exactly what the draw up for Frank the Tank is. We may see it tonight, and you'll see exactly what that scheme is if Corvallis does get a corner kick at some point in the second half here, as Mauricio Nieves Bernal draws a foul. From the movie Old School comes Frank the Tank. They also have a Ron and a Burgundy for Anchorman. They've got Jackie Moon and Buddy the Elf are some of the other names for their play calls on corner kicks, but unfortunately we haven't seen those pulled out tonight due to no opportunities. But Edgar Monroy would like to switch that up, going towards the middle of the field now and getting it back to Spencer Vingelin. Nathaniel Estrada playing way up as the defender, but cleared away to Christian Romero.
So a couple of giveaways by each team right there. North Salem's getting a chance to have a quick counterattack.
Martinez Lara playing against Elias Gallardo Rosas. Here's Romero just outside the box with Jonah Craig looming. The tackle from Gallardo Rosas. Trying to control. It'll be a throw in the corner for the Vikings.
So again, good reaction on North Salem's part after the Corvallis goal. Corvallis is looking physically stronger, but that's a good movement, some good touches on the ball, and looking dangerous getting forward.
Good throw in into the box. Diodane Kilongo almost able to find enough space to get a shot off, but no space for him. Monroy, nifty move in the center of the field. Vingelin up ahead. Injured player for North Salem clutching his ankle, but the play goes on as that ball just off the cleat of Monroy, and now they do stop time. Those two players are going for the ball and just look like an inadvertent play. And he is in quite a bit of pain. 40-yard line. I mean, he hit the turf fast. Didn't look like a malicious play at all, just going for the ball for the Corvallis player. But
yeah, it looked fairly innocuous, but the way he's rolling around, hopefully it's not a serious injury. One of the nice things Corvallis has the dean of trainers in the state, I think, in Brian Painter. So he's going to get some good care and good treatment. Hopefully it's not too serious. So one of the other things I was going to mention earlier, North Salem. So while Corvallis is getting a little bit of rhythm and pattern to their play, as they're trying to play the ball through the middle of the field, North Salem's doing a really good job of putting numbers in the midfield and following the Corvallis players that are checking. So things aren't going real smoothly through that middle third. And so while I'm kind of pointing out Corvallis had some really unclean play, you got to give North Salem credit for taking away the space from the Spartans in the middle third of the field.
the injured player for North Salem on his right leg is Juan Carlos Rangel Salas. And you're right about Brian Painter, who's well-versed at Corvallis, been here a number of years. In fact, he's who I did my rehab with back when I was a student athlete at Corvallis High School and shredded my knee up back in 2013, tore my ACL and meniscus playing basketball for Corvallis, and Brian Painter did a great job working with me 6 years ago, and I'm sure any injured players for Corvallis or North Salem are in good hands as Edgar Monroy, one hopper, is fielded by Jensen as this game remains tied at 1-1. Final home game for Corvallis in the regular season, depending on how things take form in the final week of this regular season. It could actually be the final game period for Corvallis. That steal by Nathaniel Estrada starts a counterattack with Spencer Vingelen at the head, but a good tackle on the back end for North Salem. That was Manuel Barocio Garcia.
So this game has gotten truly choppy, and both sides are going to want to see the film of these last few moments here with the consistent giveaways. But I think it's just a sign of the nerves of the situation, and if anything, it's going to be a good experience for both these squads in the playoffs, because the playoffs are like this for 80 minutes. And typically teams, if they're evenly matched, it's who can compose and relax themselves in moments like this. So this is good training in preparation for the playoffs. But I think Corvallis have some misplays that I haven't seen all year long. And I think it's just due to the circumstance of what's going on here tonight.
A lot of giveaways in the last few moments, as Corvallis at 6-0 in league, if they win tonight, do assure themselves a league championship. They'd be at 7-0 and out of reach even of West Albany, who hosts Corvallis on Tuesday. Even if the Bulldogs do win tonight, they'd only have 5 wins on the season. But if Corvallis loses tonight, and West Albany playing Dallas, as you said earlier, Tony, West Albany, if they beat Dallas and then beat Corvallis, could actually surpass the Spartans for the league title. But a lot would help if Corvallis loses, as a bounding shot from North Salem reclaims the lead, getting outside the hand of Max Kelly. Christian Romero scoring for North Salem, and the Vikings are back on top.
So great composure in the box and finish by Romero, and that's coming away against the run of play. So now Corvallis is going to have gut check time to see what kind of squad they're going to be moving forward, because this is with only 15 minutes left, less than 50 minutes. This is going to be a pretty intense end to this game.
So North Salem goes back up 2-1. Christian Romero in the book as Diodane Quilongo trying to take up space on the far sideline. No foul called, to the dismay of Salvador Maciel, head coach for the Vikings. What did you think of the lead up to that goal? It seemed to happen all of a sudden without really a fluid lead up to that goal. But what did you think of the sequence right up to that goal?
Well, you can see right here's another example. The game's getting stretched, and when you say stretched, the distance between the furthest backfield player and the forward player, and you can see Corvallis and North Salem are getting stretched, and there's a whole lot of space through the midfield. And so I didn't see the specific sequence, but the spacing of things are opening up. You see these players. Here's another example of it.
Kilongo trying to get behind the defense. Jackson Myers trying to get the ball away. Kilongo wants a penalty kick in the box. He will not get it. Max Kelly to kick it away.
So again, a lot of space to maneuver, and these guys are quality players on both sides to take advantage of that. And smart move on Kilongo's part to try to draw the penalty kick.
So if the game is getting stretched, as you say, Tony, how would you respond to that and play differently to perhaps capitalize on that or prevent any downsides of that sort of situation with, as you say, the forwards and the defenders more spaced out than normal?
It's the obligation of the center backs on both sides to pull the defense forward and get out of their half the field when they do get that quick counterattack. Because then if you're compact and pushed into their half of the field, they don't have a chance to counterattack right back at you. And again, and this, one of the things high school players sometimes they're gonna lose plot a little bit, and the coaches can't run out there and organize that. One of the beauties and frustrations of soccer, you're not gonna have too many timeouts.
Yeah. That brief pause due to Jonah Craig trying to take a little extra time, took a shot to the right leg, is able to jog off, but needing some time as he'll be replaced by Moises Quijada with 12 minutes and 28 seconds to go here in the final game of the regular season at Bob Holt Stadium. And if Corvallis loses this match, that greatly increases the chance that it will be the final game period this season, as Corvallis currently number 9 in the OSAA rankings. And if they end up in that 9 to 16 range, they would be on the road to start the first round, as this ball dangerously into the box on the free kick, but North Salem defended well.
It's just dawned on me, Josh, as you're talking about that, the possibility that if Corvallis High does not come back, that West Albany has a chance to win it and win the league title outright. Well, Silverton's at 4-1-1 as well, and that game up there has just been tied 2-2. So Silverton could have a chance to be league champions as well.
Naif Al-Sharif running out of real estate towards the back line. A great pass, however, to get him in position. The attack's not over. That ball off the leg of Romero from Estrada. Nathaniel gets it back. 30 yards out. Estrada hounded by a pair of different Vikings who get the ball away from him. Jacobo trying to pass it ahead, but it's stolen away by Edgar Monroy, but his pass taken away by Martinez Sanchez. Good to see Jonah Craig back in after limping a little bit, favoring his left leg, but looks relatively all right now. Like you said, I mean, if Corvallis loses this one and then comes back and beats West Albany, they'd win the league title at 7-1, but they could go on the road in the first round of the playoffs, and that would be crazy to see probably the best conference in the state to have its league champion being the visiting team in the first round of the OSAA playoff bracket, possibly.
Yeah, it does seem awkward, but also it's a squad that can go ahead and get that done out on the road if it comes to that.
Edgar Monroy already having his 80th goal of his career, making space against Martinez Sanchez. A tackle by Jacobo, and it will be a foul on Noah. They stop the clock, and a yellow card issued to Noah Jacobo.
Yeah, Edgar did a great job running the defender off the ball, and he's going to go ahead and dribble laterally and get dangerous. So, yeah, professional, cynical foul, but I think North Salem is going to take that and substitute and keep playing. What I've noticed here, and I'm not so sure if this came out at the second half. North Salem's playing 4 midfielders in a real tight diamond, which means it's very hard for Corvallis to find those through balls into forwards' feet. So you see Edgar maybe coming out wide to try to get some play out on the flank, out wide, because North Salem was pretty effectively kind of clouded up that midfield in the last this last part of the second half.
So free kick for Corvallis. Nathaniel Estrada to the left of the ball, but Jonah Craig likely to be the player. It does try to wind one into the box. First touch by Mauricio Nieves Bernal. Spencer Vindelin trying to push it in, but Jacob Jensen falls on it, and North Salem remains up by 1 goal. Approaching the 10-minute mark remaining in this ball game, senior night at Corvallis High, with the Spartans trying to claim the league championship tonight, but North Salem not making it easy and holding a 2-1 advantage over Corvallis. Even with a tie tonight, if Corvallis managed to push it to that point, the Spartans would go to 6-1. And then if West Albany came and beat Corvallis on Tuesday, Corvallis would be at 6-1-1, and West Albany would be as well if they beat Dallas tonight and will have the tiebreaker. So Corvallis needing a win to secure that league championship as Noah Jacobo comes back in, but North Salem in control, getting 1 goal in each half, leading 2-1. Jesse Garcia on the back end and then kicked away right in front of Mauricio Nieves Bernal. Elias Gallardo Rosas needing to pass it back to Max Kelly.
So as we just moved under 9 minutes left to play, it'd be interesting to see what kind of tactical changes Corvallis makes or systems change, who they're going to try to move forward to get more players in front of the ball.
Good defense from Jackson Myers, but the pass errant and a miscommunication with him and Eric Ponce, and it leads to a throw in for North Salem. Joe Nunez will come into this game for Corvallis. Looks like they have an injured player over on the far sideline. Hopefully just a cramp, and it looks to be that way for the Spartans with the clock stopped at 8:27 remaining. Back in the 35th minute, Manuel Barocio Garcia scored off a corner kick for North Salem to get the scoring started. It's Moises Quijada who needs some stretching over on the sideline, but able to walk off. Edgar Monroy scored on a free kick, and just an absolute majestic goal from 30-plus yards. Tied it at 1-1, and you thought Corvallis may be coming back to form like they've showed the last few matches and ready to open the floodgates and score a whole host of goals in a row, but North Salem was the next one to score, playing good defense, and 8 minutes later, reclaiming that 1-goal advantage, Christian Romero put it in. Some pressure up high for North Salem. Kilongo trying to reclaim the ball.
It's fun watching Kilongo play. It's low gravity and strength on the ball. It's hard to dislodge the ball off of him, and he's shown a bit of cleverness or sophistication in the way that he's able to hold defenders off. Be fun to see how his game develops over the next couple of years.
Grew up playing on the streets of Tanzania and moved to America as a refugee last year. And another opportunity for North Salem, and Nathaniel Martinez Sanchez fires one off the turf, and North Salem up 3-1. The sophomore midfielder has put North Salem in a commanding lead. Nathan Martinez Sanchez.
That's great excitement on North Salem players' part in their celebration. They well deserved. They've been obviously more effective around the frame. They've only had, I think, 3 or 4 shots, and they clinically finished 3 of them. So Corvallis is in some serious trouble now as far as getting a result in this game.
Now the referee's issuing a red card to Martinez Sanchez moments after scoring the goal, and then he's sent off, perhaps for the celebration after the goal he scored. I don't know if what he did running back or something he said, but his day is done moments after scoring a goal.
Yeah, pretty sure that's his, based on the second yellow card. I can't remember the first one. This one, pretty sure it's for a celebration. And it's going to be a tough one for a North Salem coach to stomach in that situation. North Salem's just scored and maybe leading towards the biggest victory of their season, and have a kid sent off for a red card. Obviously, I'm way up in the booth and not know exactly clearly what happened, but if it's simply a yellow card for celebration, I think that's going to be pretty well uncalled for.
The North Salem players were really excited after that goal, as they should have been. I mean, even Jacob Jensen, the goalkeeper, ran about 40 yards out to celebrate with his team. I didn't initially see anything particularly inappropriate, but perhaps I missed it, or a word was said, or I don't know what the issue was exactly, but North Salem now playing down a man. Still 2 goals to make up for Corvallis. We'll see if they have enough time to do it, but down 3-1, and yet another player in the book. This time it's Diodane Kilongo, his first yellow, and he'll have to come off the pitch. One more yellow for him, and all of a sudden they'd be down to 9 men, but he comes off for North Salem with just over 7 minutes to go. Christian Romero re-enters to replace him, the second goal scorer for North Salem tonight. Getting scores from Manuel Barocio Garcia, Romero, and now Nathan Martinez Sanchez, who didn't even play one more moment before being issued to the sideline with his second yellow and a red card. And then another yellow just 24 seconds later for North Salem. Leads to a free kick for Corvallis, and their only score coming on a free kick by Edgar Monroy, who leaves this ball alone and then gets a pass from Jonah Craig into the box. Monroy fires one towards the net, but can't cut this lead in half.
That's a nicely designed restart, and credit to the North Salem goalie coming off his line, getting as big as he could at the exact right time.
Corvallis still attacking with Nathaniel Estrada, trying to throw one into Vingelin, who took a cleat to the ankle, then trying to reclaim it and burrowing his way inside the shoulder of Noah Jacobo, but it'll go back to North Salem. The Vikings trying to get their biggest win of the season. They've played some good games, getting wins over Central 6-2. They also have beaten Lebanon and Dallas for their 3 league wins. But a win over Corvallis would be the best mark they've had in this season. And a big boost to their postseason chances, with one winnable game against Crescent Valley left for their own senior night. And North Salem could finish 5-3 in league if they hold on to this one tonight and get a win over the Raiders. Well, that won't be easy, because CV just came off a win over South Albany, and Crescent Valley also 3-3 on the year entering tonight. Good defense from North Salem, cut away by Manuel Barocio Garcia. Dribbling down the wing against Jackson Myers. Into the corner, has Martinez Lara in the box and Romero behind him, but no space to make a cross at the moment. Cornered into the coffin by a couple of Spartan defenders. Joe Nunez comes out of the rabble with the ball for the Spartans, ahead to Naif Al-Sharif. To Jonah Craig, a touch to Edgar Monroy in the box. Edgar to Mauricio Nieves Bernal. Too many players around him. Monroy coming away with it, but kicked away.
So that was well played. Corvallis getting out of the back half fairly quickly and looking very dangerous. And they've got to be happy having the ball on Nieves Bernal's feet for a moment. And Edgar Monroy. But again, North Salem did a great job, a little bit of panic defending. But they stood up and didn't dive in. So, again, well done on North Salem's defense.
First corner kick of the night for Corvallis, right in front of the net. Not a clean take. Jonah Craig heading it up into the mass. Al Sharif, one kick, and this one over the crossbar. And Corvallis pressuring, but unable to get their second goal of the night. Under 4 to play.
It's going to be an interesting 5 days if this result stands in terms of standings and rankings and reactions. It's a great result if it stands for North Salem. And all of the league standings are going to be significantly impacted, of course. But there's a possibility that even though they're claimed that this is the strongest 5A league, that all playoff teams might be traveling first round out of the Mid-Willamette League this year.
North Salem, which met LaSalle Prep in the first round of the playoff bracket last year and fell to the eventual state champion runner-up a year ago. In their first year at the 5A level for North Salem, they came down from the 6A ranks after the final year for head coach Rich Schwarzentrooper. Made it to the quarterfinals that year for the second time in school history. The first time was when their now head coach Salvador Maciel was a player his freshman year. And they're trying to do something similar this year, give themselves a chance to get into the postseason. And this 3-1 lead over a favored Corvallis team is very helpful for this Viking team, and something that I think Maciel knew that they were capable of, as he talked about how the results haven't gone the way they've wanted this season. But this is more the type of thing that he was wanting, although even this Corvallis team is solid and hard to beat, but North Salem has played them well this season. And tonight, I mean.
And with so many young players, it is kind of a signature performance and signature win if they do hold on for North Salem, because they got tons to build on. I think it pretty well ensures they get a chance to have a playoff game or two, and going into their club season or off season, get a lot of energy. This is kind of a performance that programs can truly build on. And Salvador will take full advantage of that, being the smart guy he is and the great coach.
Substitution for South Albany. This production of high school soccer brought to you by Even Flow Plumbing, serving both commercial and residential clients. They're fully bonded, insured, licensed. When you need a pro, go with the flow. Even Flow Plumbing at 541-738-8853. Final minute and a half of this contest at Bob Holt Stadium, where Corvallis has been put off balance all night tonight for North Salem. Neither team really dominating possession or finding a perfect flow in this game, but the Vikings have made the most of a couple opportunities near the net, getting 3 goals tonight.
So, Josh, the final just came in from Silverton. The Silverton South game ended up a 2-2 tie, and unless Corvallis scores a couple goals here in the last minute, that game at West Albany is going to be for the league championship next Tuesday. So, exciting times, of course, for West Albany, but nervy times for Corvallis High. It's going to be a fun weekend. It'll be fun how that game plays out next week.
So it looks like North Salem will come away with this victory as 40 seconds still on the clock unless something special happens, which Jonah Craig would like to do exactly that to Joe Nunez behind Jensen, and Corvallis has made it a 1-goal game with 32 seconds remaining. Some extracurricular activities after that goal, and Spencer Vingelen getting in between the two teams. A red card has been issued. Jacob Jensen surprised at the call, and then a card to, I believe that was Mauricio Nieves Bernal. And things are getting crazy in the final moments of this Corvallis North Salem match.
Yeah, overreactions from start to finish. High school soccer, the clock stops after a goal. So the North Salem goalie trying to keep the ball and waste time, and the Corvallis forward trying to grab the ball out of his hands and pushes and shoves and handbags. All of that is not unknown to high school soccer and high school boys. But for the referee to pull out 2 red cards is entirely over the top. That's just poor officiating on the center's part.
So Jacob Jensen is sent off. That's the second red card tonight because Nathaniel Martinez Sanchez was sent off earlier. So North Salem's down to 9 players. We'll see if they make a substitution and put a different goalie in to replace one of their other players in the field, which means they would only have 8 players in the field and then 1 keeper. At the moment, they have nobody in goal. There was also a red card to Corvallis, which, unless I'm mistaken, was on Mauricio Nieves Bernal. There were so many players right around the goal, it was kind of hard to see which players were in the thick of it. And the goal was scored by Joe Nunez. Spencer Vingelen did a great job, the senior captain, trying to get in between players, calm things down, and remind them, hey, look, the clock has stopped. We just need to get the ball back, and let's keep playing and not lose any players and make the most of this final 32 seconds. But before he could do anything, there were already 2 red cards issued. And correct me if I'm wrong, but that also means they're suspended for the next match also.
Yeah, it makes that West Albany game even more intriguing with Corvallis going with their top forward unable to play. So again, it's unfortunate that the nerves and the excitement got the best of folks out here at the very end. 'Cause it's been a good game, interesting game. North Salem has done very, very well, giving a great account of themselves. But to have 2 kids red carded, I'm not so sure either one was deserved. And of course, Nieves Bernal's red card also I don't think is deserved.
There have been 3 red cards issued tonight right after goals. The player in goal now for North Salem is Juan Carlos Rangel Salas. Only 30 seconds to go for Corvallis against an underhanded North Salem team, but time not in their favor as Nathaniel Estrada sprinting after this ball, but only 17 seconds to go for Corvallis trying to tie up this game. Naif Al-Sharif just outside the box, and North Salem willing to just punt that ball away off of Jacobo, and Corvallis will not have enough time to tie up this game, and North Salem comes away with the 3-2 victory on the road on senior night for Corvallis with dramatic red cards, extracurricular activity, and after all that, the Vikings win it 3-2.
Some incredibly frustrating moments, I think, for Corvallis throughout the evening, and to end with losing a player on the red card it's going to be doubly frustrating. But hopefully cooler heads are going to prevail, and I'm not so sure if any of these red cards are ones that coaches and athletic directors can appeal. So congratulations to North Salem. They did well in terms of taking their chances, scoring their goals, and having a pretty good defensive plan to slow down Spartan attack.
One thing I do like to see, Nathan Martinez Sanchez, one of the players ushered off the field after a red card, goes over to the Corvallis bench after this game and gives handshakes to all the Corvallis players. Good sportsmanship from him, even after getting a red card earlier. He was sent off after scoring a goal, and during the celebration, given a red card that surprised him. And a couple other red cards later after Joe Nunez scored a goal, and players on each side sent off. And North Salem playing with 9 players, put in a new goalie. Juan Carlos Rangel Salas had to throw on a new jersey just to play in goal and put the mitts on for the final 32 seconds. And they escape with a 3-2 victory. Well played for North Salem. I mean, they beat a Corvallis team, and it wasn't the prettiest game tonight, but the Vikings come away with the win. We'll see what they can do to close out this regular season. But well done for Salvador Maciel, head coach for North Salem. And now Corvallis, with all the momentum they had, winning 6 in a row, with scoring 32 goals in that span and allowing 2, need to kind of reset before their season concluding match against West Albany.
Yeah, it's all the permutations of who's going to be in 4th place, 5th place, 6th place. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out, because obviously sixth-place team has no chance of the playoffs, and the fifth-place team will be looking south to see how the ratings go for the Springfield-Churchill teams down there. And so this last week of play is going to be pretty exciting here in the Mid-Willamette League. Both these teams are going to be going into some very, very important games without key players, so it'll be interesting.
The final from Bob Holt Stadium, 3-2, as the seniors and the whole squad comes over to the crowd to applaud them. Not the result they wanted in the final match of the regular season here at Corvallis High School for the seniors, but still so many memories for them and for guys like Edgar Monroy getting his 80th goal of his career, and his fellow seniors Ian Spihar, Nathaniel Estrada, John Foltz, Luke Rebar Bowling, Spencer Vingelen, Jesus Rodriguez, and Gerardo Gonzalez. Manuel Barocio Garcia scores in the 35th minute. Edgar Monroy in the 57th to tie it up. But North Salem scoring in the 65th with Christian Romero, and again in the 73rd with Nathan Martinez Sanchez. And a late goal by Joe Nunez made it close at 3-2, the final score tonight. For Ryan Johnson and Tony Vandermeer, I'm Josh Worden. Our thanks to our sponsors, Even Flow Plumbing and Praise Jesus Food Truck. Signing off from Corvallis High School for our final regular season match of the season here at Bob Holt Stadium. North Salem 3, Corvallis 2. This is a production of Mid-Willamette Conference Soccer on Oregon Sports Beat.